Coming up, a discussion on healthcare reform. What do people want from their healthcare? We look into this hot topic next.
And we learn more about a breakthrough treatment for MS, a new drug that could change lives, and this special edition of District Wire News, Science and Technology, starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Aaron Lerner.
And I'm Kelvin Henry.
One of the Trump administration's biggest campaign promises came to a halt recently when the ACA repeal bill was pulled from the House floor. Feelings around healthcare are still divided across the country. Our Craig Cannon has more on the story.
Over healthcare are rising in the nation's capital after a plan to revamp the U.S. healthcare system was pulled by the Trump administration last month. The Affordable Care Act, enacted in 2010, has received a lot of criticism for its flaws in the healthcare system. Individuals are coming forward expressing their opinions over the current healthcare bill. Denise Zangwill of Pennsylvania says although Obamacare isn't perfect, it doesn't need to be completely erased.
I think that Obamacare was not perfect, but I think it was a work in progress and it needed amendment and it needed a good way to go forward. It was a good platform, but I think that Donald Trump is trying too hard to scrap it and start over, and it's irresponsible because millions of people are going to lose their health insurance.
President Trump took to Twitter on Sunday saying talks of repealing and replacing Obamacare are still underway. Eric Hansen of Denmark says his experience with Obamacare hasn't been the greatest.
You know, from, shall we say, middle America, so to speak, the Obamacare has been a catastrophe because, you know, our premiums have gone up in some places 200 to 300%. They've always used Denmark as the example of what Obamacare can be. But here's a Danish guy telling you that it's not really all that great.
President Trump did not mention the failure of the healthcare bill to lawmakers at the reception. Lawmakers have yet to reach a consensus over a plan to replace the Affordable Care Act. Craig Cannon, District Wire News.
Good morning, Professor Gann, or good afternoon, I should say. You're a highly regarded figure in public health and a professor here at AU, so we're here to speak to you about a few things about the upcoming healthcare legislation. So why has it been such a struggle over the decades to implement quality and efficient healthcare with the model that exists?
Well, good question. With both models, the model that exists, the ACA, and the proposed model that did not pass, the American Health Care Act, we have not struck that sweet spot. Our people that do not have health coverage or who are underinsured want to have good health care. We know that that's what leads to better life expectancy and better quality of life. But then there's the price that we have to pay for good comprehensive health care, and that's really where the trouble lies.
And that's a great point. So building off of that, do you believe the main focus should be access or affordability?
Well, I think most of us in public health would like to see both, but we definitely want to see health care much more accessible to all, and we want to see people gaining coverage, not losing coverage.
Okay, and what do you feel are the policy obstacles that any future legislation should tackle?
Oh, wow. Well, I think that we need to continue the momentum that we've had with 20 million people gaining coverage. That's been huge, and the people who have gained coverage have been the people that really suffer from the greatest health disparities. We've seen great increases in coverage among Hispanics, among Black Americans, and among the poor. And these are our most vulnerable people and will make a difference in changing the statistics for the United States.
Okay, and the ACHA keeps certain things intact, like young adults being able to stay on their parents' health care until they're 26, but removing certain parts to pay for it, with the CBO saying that it's going to be expensive legislation while not insuring as many people. What do you feel is the common balance to tackle what's going on right now, but to pay for it in the future?
Right. Well, we're all very happy to see that that people not being discriminated because of a pre-existing medical condition would stay with the proposed legislation. That's very, very important. These are the people who need health care most, those that have a health condition. And of course, staying on your parents' plan till age 26. I'm sure most of us in the studio can relate to the importance of that and letting us getting settled before we have to find health care for ourselves. So that's great, but what is really most important is that our coverage that we offer is comprehensive. And the Affordable Care Act put that into place by mandating these 10 essential services that need to be covered. And they included things that you probably think most health plans were already including, but it's not the case. Things like maternity care, drug treatment services, mental health services. The World Health Organization just a few days ago said that depression was the #1 health issue facing the world. And so having mental health coverage in our health insurance is very important. And the Affordable Care Act did mandate services like that be included. The proposed legislation did not.
And this is an issue that has both sides very heated. We actually have a soundbite which we could play of what the environment is right now.
And it really is a crucial vote for the Republican Party and for the people of our country to finally repeal and replace the disaster known as Obamacare. It's what it is, a disaster.
Now, with this environment being so charged, what do you think both the politics and the policy side of it, of making sure that we get something that works and that'll be successful in the future?
Well, you're right. There are a lot of people to make happy. We've talked about the insured, the people who need the coverage, but we haven't talked about the hospitals and other key players in this. And the hospitals need to have insured patients come and use their services or they're going to go under. So that's really important, and we have to figure out a way to make it work so that the health plans do not have to keep raising the premiums. The premiums have become unaffordable, and they have increased much more than people thought. And so what the idea all along has been to make sure that enough healthy people sign up for health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, so young healthy adults that aren't going to be a big drain on the health care plans, and that still needs to be the push.
And we don't have a crystal ball, but if you can make a prediction, do you think that we'll have a successful solution that'll be passed in the near future?
You know what? I'm going to be optimistic. I think that we all value health care, and I think that something can be worked out. You know, the Affordable Care Act was meant to be tweaked. The health plans had to respond very quickly with their prices and what they offered. And I think with a little time and tweaking, I think we can reach something that will work for everyone.
And thank you so much, Professor Gann. We really appreciate you being here.
You're welcome.
Well, this has been a great discussion, and thank you for joining us, Professor Gann.
More than 20,000 of the world's leading minds in cancer research and treatment are gathering in Washington, D.C. this week for the American Association for Cancer Research's annual meeting. At the conference, researchers present their most recent studies and pharmaceutical companies announce the latest breakthroughs in cancer treatment. The conference, which has taken place annually since 1988, runs through Wednesday at the Convention Center downtown.
A new drug brings hope to 2.3 million people suffering from multiple sclerosis. Mashai Salu has more with this breakthrough treatment.
Over 4,000 Americans live with multiple sclerosis, and after a long wait, the FDA has approved the first drug that can treat severe forms of this disease, a disorder in which the body's own immune system attacks the brain and spinal cord. This new drug, called Ocrevus, is a great break for those patients battling with the disease that usually leads to paralysis. Katie Boothroyd, Director of Internal Communications at the National MS Society, talks about what this means to the MS community.
This is really exciting. Our president and CEO, Cindy Zaghi-Boilo, called this a game changer, and it really is. This is the first drug that treats primary progressive MS, and we were founded in 1946. This has been a long time coming, and so this drug really shows an innovation and a technological innovation that is extraordinary. And we're really excited about what this means for MS, and both in relapsing remitting and in primary progressive.
Though expected to be expensive, charging a list price of $65,000 a year, it is 25% less than the existing drug, Rebif, which during clinical trials has shown to be less effective than Ocrevus.
It's setting a new precedent for less expensive medication, less expensive drugs, and it's something that we're very excited about, something that's been very alarming and concerning for the MS Society, and from a personal perspective is watching drug prices skyrocket. And in coming into the market at 20% less, they're setting a precedent for easier access to affordable healthcare and healthcare for people who are living with this disease.
While this drug provides benefits and brings hope for MS patients, side effects are a possibility. Dr. Robert Shin, director at the Georgetown MS Center, says doctors will only prescribe it to patients whose diseases have advanced significantly.
Some of the side effects associated with medicine are related to getting an IV medicine. So there are some people who might have an allergic reaction or what we call an infusion reaction as the medication is working. So to prevent that, patients who are receiving Ocrevus will be getting other medications, so pre-medications during or right before their infusion.
Walks to End MS have been taking place in different states. The National MS Society, DC chapter, has taken the lead in organizing one that will take place on April 30th.
Over 300,000 people every year come out for Walk MS, and we've been doing this since 1988. So this is a really exciting time where people who are living with MS can come together in a spirit of camaraderie and walk to end this disease.
Proceeds for the walk will go towards more research for MS. For District Wire News, I'm Mershai Salu.
The Food and Drug Administration granted priority review to a new leukemia treatment. This means that the agency will take action on the drug named Blincyto within the next 6 months. Patients with acute lymphoblastic leukemia who received the drug lived longer than chemotherapy patients in the most recent trial. If the drug is approved, it's expected to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per patient.
Last week, President Trump created the Commission on Combating Drug Addiction and the Opioid Crisis. According to the most recent Centers for Disease Control data, more than 33,000 people died from opioid overdoses in 2015. According to another 2015 study, almost 4 million people aged 12 or older reported misusing prescription pain relievers within 30 days of the survey. The president has selected New Jersey Governor Chris Christie to lead the new commission.
Electronic cigarettes have been causing severe injuries. Defective batteries are exploding in people's pockets and leaving third-degree burns. Kelly Vaughn has more on the story.
According to the Center for Disease Control, cigarette smoking causes around 480,000 deaths in the United States each year. Many smokers have turned to e-cigarettes or vaping pens as an alternative.
I use it instead of cigarettes because I think it's healthier.
But new reports show vaping pens have their own dangers. The lithium batteries in these devices can overheat, causing explosions. Here, a smoke shop employee in Massachusetts was hospitalized after his vape pen exploded in his face. His boss says he received 12 stitches after the incident. This New Jersey woman was shocked when her vapor pen exploded in her purse while shopping at the mall. And Kentucky man Josh Hamilton was hospitalized for second-degree burns after his e-cigarette exploded in his pocket while waiting in line at the gas station.
It's definitely not something that they can continue to make these e-cigs like this and just expect people to know, by the way, it might explode in your pocket.
If you use e-cigarettes or vape pens, here are some tips to help keep you safe. Be sure to use the charger that came with the device and avoid charging overnight. Always buy from reputable companies and check that the battery is not more powerful than the device is designed for. Keep the device away from water and clean regularly with a Q-tip or a wipe. Be sure not to over-tighten the battery to the device and always turn it off when it's not in use. In Washington, I'm Kelly Vaughn for District Wire News.
The March for Science is taking place this month to celebrate the evolution of science. How are the controversies surrounding it going to affect the march?
Did you know that your phone is tracking your every move without using your GPS? What is the new setting and how are people dealing with such a new revolution? Find out when we return.